The story takes place during the early Joseon dynasty, and Prince Sungwon visits an aristocrat's home for dinner. He meets his daughter Hwayeon there and feels an instant attraction to her. But before he can do anything, he discovers that Hwayeon is in love with Kwon Yu, the aristocrat's adopted son. When Sungwon's mother discovers that he is attracted to Hwayeon, she warns him to stay away from her because it will harm his reputation. Sungwon's mother was the previous king's concubine and is now the stepmother of the current king, who is also Sung's half-brother. Once the current king has no heirs, and his wife died recently, so he asks his stepmother to find him a new queen as soon as possible. As a result, Sung mother Won's requests that the aristocrat send his daughter Hwayeon as a concubine for the king. But she refuses to become a concubine and flees with Kwon Yu one night. The couple is apprehended by guards the next morning. Hwa Fatheryeon wishes to execute Kwon Yu for the crime, but Hwayeon begs her father to spare him and agrees to accompany the king to the palace as a concubine. Hwayeon became queen 5 years later after giving birth to a son. Sungwon returns to the palace after being away for 5 years to see his brother, the king, after learning of his brother's illness. He then gives Hwayeon a hairpin as a token of his feelings for her. The king's condition deteriorates, and he eventually dies of an unknown illness. Hwa Fatheryeon believes the king was poisoned and is determined to find out the truth. But before he can act, he and his followers are mysteriously arrested at the request of Sung mother. Soon after, Sungwon ascends to the throne and becomes the next king. His mother renames herself Regent and Queen Mother and seizes control of the royal court. Hwayeon and her son have been relocated to a modest residence that is constantly monitored. She wishes to establish that the previous king was poisoned. She eventually learns that the previous king had lunch with Sungwon's mother on the day he died. Sungwon visits Hwayeon one night and assures her that her father will be released soon. Hwayeon learns from him that Kwon Yu, her former lover, is working in the palace among the eunuchs. Sungwon's mother learns of his secret visit to Hwayeon and tells him that he can have any woman in the kingdom except her, as Hwayeon remains a threat to their rule. Meanwhile, Hwayeon visits Kwon Yu and is relieved to see him alive. She informs him of the former king's assassination and requests his assistance, but he declines and resents her for what happened to him. Kwon Yu reveals that after she left, her father castrated her for daring to elope with his daughter. Kwon Yu has now joined forces with Minister Yoon and the Queen Mother in order to have Hwa Fatheryeon executed for what he did to him. When Hwayeon learns of the execution, she begs Sungwon to halt it. Sungwon begs his mother to halt the execution, but she refuses because she wants to punish Hwayeon and her family for undermining her authority. Sungwon has had enough of being the puppet king and orders Kwon Yu to immediately halt the execution. However, Kwon Yu undermines Sung exoneration Won's orders and personally ensures the execution of Hwa Fatheryeon. Following that, the court suggests that Sungwon and the Queen Mother exile Hwayeon and her son, but Sungwon refuses because he does not want a widow to suffer for her father's sins. He tries to communicate with Hwayeon because he still has feelings for her, but Hwayeon refuses to speak with him because she blames him for her father's death. As a result, Sungwon chooses Gmok, Hwa Personalyeon's maid, as a minor concubine. Sungwon learns about Hwa Privateyeon's habits from her and becomes aroused by learning more about Hwayeon. The next day, Gmok is given his own room in order to please Sungwon. Hwayeon, on the other hand, is still devastated by her father's death and is unsure what to do next. Later, Hwayeon goes to see Sungwon while wearing the hairpin he gave her years ago in order to please him and gain his favor. When Sungwon's mother learns of this, she decides to eliminate Hwayeon and her son as a threat. As a result, she directs Minister Yoon to assassinate Hwayeon and her son. Minister Yoon delegated the task to Kwon Yu, who agreed to poison Hwayeon and her son in order to maintain his position at the royal court. Meanwhile, Gmok devises a plan to bring Sungwon to her room. Although she was initially hesitant to become a minor concubine, she now intends to bear a prince and secure her position as a concubine. She even approaches Hwayeon and asks for jewelry to make her look more appealing. She wears the same hairpin that Sungwon gave to Hwayeon years before. As time passes, Sungwon is pressed by his mother to father a son and secure their royal bloodline. But Sungwon has had enough of being a puppet and goes to see Gmok, who has been promoted to concubine. He becomes enraged when he notices she is wearing the hairpin he gave to Hwayeon. Gmok reveals to save her own life that Kwon Yu was the one who had a relationship with Hwayeon before she became a concubine. Sungwon confronts Hwayeon, accusing her of concealing Kwon Yu as a fake eunuch in the palace. He even questions her about whether Kwon Yu is the biological father of her child. Hwayeon, on the other hand, denies all of the accusations and pleads her innocence. So Sungwon pulls down Kwon Pantsu's and discovers that he was castrated, proving Hwayeon's innocence. Yin Sungwon then attempts to forcefully mate with Huayan because he can no longer control his desires, but Huayan stops him and tells him to return when he becomes a true king. Following that, Kuan Yu changes his mind and believes he is the father of Hua's son. He suggests that they flee the palace together and start over, but Huayan refuses, stating that she will not endanger her son and will protect him at all costs. Kuan Yu one day prepares the poison for the assassination of Huayan and her son, as ordered by Queen Mother and Minister Yun. Instead, he puts the poison in Sung medicinal Wan's drink in the hopes of killing him and installing Hua Sunyuns as king. Sung Wan, on the other hand, refuses to drink the medicinal drink and instead orders Kuan Yu to do so. Kuan Yu is forced to drink the medicinal drink and begins vomiting blood due to the poison. Sung Wan is taken aback by this and decides to save Kuan Yu in order to discover the truth. Later, he interrogates the physician and discovers that the head of medicine is Minister Yun, who works directly for Queen Mother, raising the possibility that Queen Mother attempted to assassinate Sung Wan. Soon after, Huayan sends her son to a safe location, knowing that a storm is brewing in the palace. Later, she is arrested and charged with treason by the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother then orders Minister Yun to kill and dispose of Huayan. But, before he can do so, Sung Wan orders the royal guards to arrest Minister Yun immediately. Meanwhile, Sung Wan confronts his mother, accusing her of plotting to assassinate him, Huayan, and her son in order to seize the throne. The Queen Mother denies the accusation, claiming that she genuinely cares about him. She admits to poisoning the previous king in order to install Sung Wan on the throne. Sung Wan is horrified by the revelation because he never intended to become king and adored his stepbrother. Sung Wan summons Kuan Yu and Minister Yun to the court to determine whether they conspired to poison him. When Sung Wan asks Kuan Yu who ordered him to poison the king, Kuan Yu lies, claiming that Queen Mother and Minister Yun were behind the assassination attempt. Sung Wan is devastated by the news and orders his guards to execute all of the perpetrators. The Queen Mother will be placed under house arrest in her chambers indefinitely. Huayan meets Kuan Yu on his way to be executed to thank him for keeping his promise. When Kuan Yu requests that Huayan care for their son after he dies, Huayan responds that the prince is no one's son but hers. Kuan Yu is devastated because he has given his life for Huayan and her child, who may or may not be his own. Huayan later goes to see Sung Wan. Huayan accepts Sung Love Wan's now that he has become a true king, and the two mate passionately. After mating, however, Huayan stabs Sung Wan with the same hairpin he gave her. The woman he adored and sacrificed everything in his life to win her love was the one who took his life. Queen Mother is assassinated shortly after. Huayan and her son make their way back to the royal court. As Hua Sunyuns plays on the throne, the door behind them closes, and she realizes she can't return. So that was the concubine story.